Is this thing on?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Voice Podcast, a podcast for students by students. Today we have a podcast with Peer Tutors, and we have Tiffany and Liz with us. Tiffany and Liz, welcome to the Voice Podcast, and please introduce yourself and tell us your roles at SLC.
Thank you so much, Vijay. My name is Elizabeth Lott. I am my special title, Peer Tutor Coordinator for all three campuses at St. Lawrence College.
And my name is Tiffany. Some of you have probably seen me before. I am one of the hosts of the Voice podcast, but here today I am here under my role as Liz's assistant. So my official title is Peer Tutor Coordinator Assistant. So I help Liz with basically whatever she needs help with. I help a lot with IT issues that the tutors are having, a lot of paperwork issues, handling sort of updating manuals and paperwork and stuff, and just whatever else Liz needs me to do.
Yeah, I mean, peer tutoring is, it's a big service at the college. And without Tiffany's help, I don't think that we would be able to keep the thing running. It's mammoth, but it's fantastic. And we're going to get into more of that as we move along.
Yeah, Tiffany is so resourceful, and thank you, Liz and Tiffany, for the work you do at St. Lawrence College. I'm just going to ask, what is peer tutoring and what are the ranges of services provided?
That's a really great question. And thanks for asking it, because in the last couple of years, peer tutoring has shifted into the libraries and student success area. It used to reside right in the academic schools. And so the face of it's changed a little bit. One of the reasons why we brought it over, or the college, I should say, brought it over to libraries and student success was to kind of marry up some of the services where they intersect with what we call the Academic Support Center, formerly the Math and Writing Center. So in terms of the services that the peer tutoring program provides, when a student requests a peer tutor, and we'll get into a little bit about how to do that later, but when a student requests a peer tutor, I specifically get these requests, and then I work to match them with someone that's either in their class or an upper year student in their program. They will work together in more of a symbiotic relationship, not a teacher-student relationship, but more like mentors or that sort of kind of relationship. In terms of other services the peer tutoring program provides, sometimes we do group tutoring. This can happen. We like to try to do one-on-one tutoring. We end up with doing group tutoring, usually because there's a really high need and a low number of tutors available. This can happen in some of the allied health programs, some of those programs where you've got anatomy seems to be the big one. Sort of across the board, any program that has anatomy in their first or second semester tends to be a bit of a challenging area. So that's the kind of scenario where we might do a group session and usually with group sessions, we try to keep to about 3 students.
Okay.
Anything that goes beyond that, if we're finding that we've got way more students than we can really service in that way, we'll start talking about doing things like maybe a tutorial. We've done that before. If we have a really strong peer tutor, we might run a couple of tutorials and right before a test or something like that. So it sort of emerges as we go, each year. It's not something that we know for sure. When we start the year, we go, okay, we've got, maybe 40 or 50 returning peer tutors. Then we see as the semester evolves where those needs are going to arise. And they usually become pretty clear within the first couple to 3 weeks of the semester.
Awesome. what you said about anatomy, learning the vocabulary of anatomy, or like basically the human anatomy, it's it's a little bit complex. So I think you need to do a lot of cramming, and sure, students will need they will need assistance, they will need guidance, and they will need to learn the roots of those words, right? So,
Oh,
so
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so they will need like so much help.
I
Yeah.
think a big problem with those kinds of courses is that there are a lot of people that need help and not a lot of people who feel confident enough to tutor those programs. So we run shy on tutors, and we have a lot of people that are asking for that service. So I think that's one of the big problems, especially with those allied health programs, is comfort level of the people tutoring them.
It's that, and it's also that particularly in our BSCN program, the students that are doing exceptionally well or very, very well are too busy. It's just, they're very demanding programs. We're graduating some incredible people out of these programs who are going to provide incredible care to our communities, and they are focused and tired running clinic, right? So to get people to do this work can be a little bit challenging in some of those programs. What I do find though in allied health, it's community, right? It's a community overall. They're helpers by nature. So, I love working at the college for this. It's a community college, community being the word. And the people who are going to come out of our college are going to go work in our communities. We are a diverse group, and the college represents that diverse group. And that's one of the reasons why I like doing the job that I do, because I get to have a little bit of a hand, or even a couple fingers in a few different areas. And, I would say it's made me a better person since I took on this particular role. I've been at the college for over a decade, but only in this role for 2 years, not quite 2 years. And it's been a great time so far.
Amazing. So I see you are very community oriented, and finding purpose within that community is one huge thing. And you've talked about being short of peer tutors. Is there any eligibility requirements to become a peer tutor? What should students know, and how can they contribute?
Yeah, so yes, there are eligibility requirements. Anybody can apply. So, we work in an equitable environment, and, we want students to understand that if they feel that they've got something to offer, we want them to come in and help. So you don't have to wait for your prof to say, hey, you might be a great peer tutor, although that might happen. We have profs who will sometimes, ask a student, have you ever been interested in peer tutoring? And if they can, recognize the qualities in this student, they can go ahead and apply. That's an online application, an MS form that's found on our St. Lawrence College website in order to apply to become one. But anybody can apply. In terms of looking at basic eligibility requirements, a B average is necessary, B or higher, and that's across all courses. So not just the course that you feel that you could peer tutor in if you had a B or higher. If you are struggling in your own program, it's not really advisable that you take extra time to try to help others, as wonderful as that is. It's better to refocus your energy on your own studies, right? And that's one of the reasons why we like the peer tutoring program, because it gives students that sort of space, that flexibility like that. The other piece is really just a genuine desire to help their peers. It's a great feeling. I'm not a tutor. I coordinate the program. Tiffany's a tutor, and she'll be able to speak to this. When we talk about the benefits of it. It's just wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling to connect with these students who want to do well, and they want to contribute. And when everybody does well, we all win, right? And that's what this is what this feels like, being on a team where, we're all just focused on student success. And so in that respect, it's fantastic. So a genuine desire to help, a positive attitude. And, I hate to use the word positive. That sounds kind of silly because it's used a lot. It's overused in some respect. I want to say constructive attitude, willing to come and assist in a genuine way and to make those connections with their college community in a genuine way. That's what we're looking for. And that's what we have, right now. Tiff and I were just meeting about an hour and a half ago in preparation for meeting with you. And right now we've got about 130 active peer tutors across across all 3 campuses, right? So it's sort of this ever constant thing. Not all of them are working 12 hours a week. Some of them are working 2 hours a week because that's what they can handle. And it works within their schedule, and that's what their program or their, the student in their program only needs that. That's what they do. So, I think that answers your question, Tiffany. Did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Just that, you talked about the benefits of becoming a peer tutor, and obviously there are some financial benefits of becoming a peer tutor, but there are a lot of personal benefits that I've found being a tutor and then being the assistant as well. You get an opportunity to reinforce your own knowledge. You're helping somebody else understand the content, and it's basically like studying. You're getting paid to study at that point. And you're often doing a little bit of research on different ways that you could explain concepts to somebody else, and it really reinforces your own learning. But Liz had mentioned that sense of satisfaction that you get from helping somebody else. That is huge, especially when you're teaching somebody a concept and you see the light bulb go off and they're like, I get it. And you're like, I feel victorious that I was able to help you to understand this concept and help you help yourself. Because the people that are looking for tutoring really want to succeed. They just need a little bit of extra help. They want to do well. Mm-hmm. And it's so satisfying for me as a tutor to be able to provide somebody that help and really see them make those connections. And they're like, I finally get it. Or, I've often had 2Ds come to me after a big test and they're like, I got a really great grade and I couldn't have done it without you. Aww. And it's just it's really sweet.
Yeah, so sweet. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love that feeling of being able to help.
Yeah. Tiffany just mentioned, getting paid. And that is something that we didn't mention, the benefit. This is a paid position with St. Lawrence College. Yeah. So I know most people have heard of student employment and that there are bursary positions available. Tiffany's in one as the program assistant, and that is a contract position. What we do in peer tutoring, though, is not a contract position. Everybody's hired as a casual employee on an on-call basis. So, like I was saying, if you can only do 2 hours a week because it only fits with your schedule, we can do that. We can bring you on board. And then if you find, after you get through your first semester or second semester, I think I could take on more, or I want to take on more. I'm feeling more confident now. Sometimes it's just a matter of, if you've never been a tutor before, just sort of getting your feet wet and getting some grounding there, and then kind of moving forward from there. In addition to that, you can kind of put it down if necessary. Like if you have a big exam period coming up and you really can't make yourself available to tutor for a week or two, that's just a matter of talking to me about it, and we make arrangements to do other things during that period of time. So it's really flexible. So that's a huge benefit to students given their circumstances. Everybody's their schedules are all over the place, and you can tutor, on campus. Once we get back to quote unquote normal, likely in the fall, everything will be back face to face and in person. That makes tutoring really easy, because if you're in the same program, you're on the same schedule, you can just go ahead and book some time in a library room. One of the great things that came out of COVID one of the few great things that came out of COVID is we did manage to move. The very first year, we pivoted completely. All tutoring moved from an exclusively in-person program to an exclusively remote program. So it was really hard at the beginning, as I'm sure everybody knows, because they had to do their own thing. We all learned MS Teams really fast. We did all of this stuff, but it worked amazingly well because students, like we were just saying, have very different schedules. I love an 8 to 4. That's where I am in my life. But students could have tutoring at midnight if they wanted to. They could tutor in the middle, in the middle of the night, if that, right? Like if you're on a shift and you're a nursing student and you do shifts and you come off at 3 a.m. and you've got a tutor who's doing the same kind of thing you are, you can log on to MS Teams and go ahead and do your tutoring there. So that was another big piece for us. So now that we're kind of back to some sort of in-person activity, we're offering a hybrid. So it's amazing. It's opened so many things up for us. Like our third year med lab science students, for example, all those med lab science students do a full year of placement. So they're gone. They're away from the college. They've never been able to tutor our first and second year students because of that barrier. Now we retained a couple of tutors who really made the difference with our first year students in hematology. That's a toughie, and that course, and that just made the difference. So, we're having a lot of successes with our program so far.
This is amazing. I love the flexibility. I love that you can do it in person or online. It's such an amazing opportunity for students who really want to become peer tutors, and even the eligibility requirements are so easy to meet. I mean, for a B, that's amazing that you don't really need to, you don't have to have all the A's to be a peer tutor. Just the flexibility of the hours, and it's not just that you get the emotional benefit, you also get the financial benefit, which is because it's a paid position. So you have both the emotional benefits and the financial benefits.
Absolutely, and I would add sort of the lesser obvious benefit is that when you finish your program and you leave us you leave us and you say goodbye and you go out into the world, you're welcome to come and talk to me about getting a letter of reference. And you're welcome to put this position on your resume. I myself was a peer tutor. I came back to college in my 30s and I did an office administration diploma. I wanted practical, marketable skills. I had 4 children. My last child had gone into school, and I needed to do something. And as it turns out, I ended up going on and doing some other education, and thankfully I got hired by the college and I'm here. But at the time when I did my office administration, I was asked to be a peer tutor in accounting and in Excel, and that actually got me my very first job out of college, was having that tutoring Excel on my resume. So it's pretty significant having that there, and further to that, is it being a paid position? We are working to also include this opportunity as a volunteer opportunity. There is some transition happening at the college right now with some reorganization. We've had some other sort of programs that would compensate students in non-monetary ways, because sometimes students they may already have a bursary student position, right? Where in the college, and you can, at the college as a student, you're only allowed to work 12 hours a week. That's the max. So if you're already in a position, and we've had this happen where a student may be working in the tech shop, for example, year round, they'll have a 12-hour week position, but they want a peer tutor. Well, we can't hire them and compensate them because they're already 12 hours, right?
Really?
Yeah, really, right?
Really?
Yeah, and it's a tough thing, and it's truthfully, these things come out of certain budgets, and and we have to sort of decide. There's a cap, right? What we don't want students to do is overextend themselves, right? Now, some students have, like our Tiffany here, who seems to have like a capacity that is just crazy. Some students really amazing, really amazing.
It's everywhere.
She's everywhere.
She's so resourceful.
Totally resourceful. In that case, though, we have employed doing some tutoring on a volunteer basis. It does, at the present time, we have to do it on approval on a case-by-case basis because we don't have a formal process to recognize that, that this volunteer work has taken place. It is something that we're currently addressing and working on. I'm hoping to have something sort of nailed out, for the spring semester in some capacity, but probably working with student affairs at large for some sort of, like in the past, we had a student life credit. I'm not sure what the vision is for the fall 2022 semester, but I do believe there will be some sort of recognition program that isn't monetary that will be available to students in this regard as well.
That's amazing, Liz. Thank you so much for highlighting all this. I mean, for students who would, want to be a peer tutor, they have lots of benefits. Like, it's amazing, really. And I want to know, like, are there guidelines for mentees or expectations from mentees?
From
If I'm
mentees.
using the right language, is it like a mentee or there's another language you use? Like
we often call them tutees.
Tutees.
Yeah. So there are some expectations, and really, it can be kind of confusing for students who are thinking that they might need a tutor. People are like, am I eligible to get a tutor? Who can access peer tutoring? The answer is anybody. Anybody who needs tutoring can access tutoring, and you can do what we call self-referral. So you don't need a professor to back you up and say, yes, this person needs tutoring. If you feel like you need help, you can email the tutoring department at kpeertutoring@sl.on.ca for the Kingston campus. And it'll put you in touch with Liz, and Liz can give you more information. She can get you kind of enrolled in the peer tutoring program. So it's not limited to, only students who have a grade below XYZ. Even if you're a straight A student, but you're feeling like you need extra help with your studying or that kind of thing, sign up. And we recommend signing up early. Don't wait until you have an urgent need for tutoring. If you think you're going to need help, get enrolled, because we do work on a very responsive basis. So every year, the needs of the tutoring program are monitored because they're very flexible. What programs are in need of tutors and tutees varies from year to year. Not every year we have the same need in the same courses. So it's something that Liz very much has to be reactive to. So the better of an idea that we can get of which programs are in demand of tutoring services, the earlier we can hire tutors and search out tutors for those programs, get them enrolled. Enrolling a tutor is a bit of a lengthy process, so it's not something that we can do on an urgent basis. Students should know that if you feel like you need urgent help, we do have the Academic Success Center, which Liz can talk about in a little bit here, that has some professional, they have some professional tutors that can help on a more immediate basis if you feel like you're struggling. But the peer tutoring services are open to anybody. But I think just reasonable guidelines and expectations, be on time, show up when you say you're going to show up, answer, communicate professionally, and know what you want to study. Your peer tutor is here to help you, but they're not here to teach you.
That's right.
So just make sure that you understand the expectations of each other, that they're here to help you study, they're here to help reinforce content, but they are not here to teach you the content. So if you're confused, make sure you come to your tutoring sessions knowing what it is you want to clear up. That really helps your tutor optimize the time that you're given together, those couple of hours each week.
I'd like to highlight too, in terms of a couple of things, that for the Cornwall and Brockville folks, the email address is the same. It's bpeertutoring@sl.on.ca for Brockville, and cpeertutoring for the Cornwall folks. In addition to that, you can access all of this information on the St. Lawrence College website under the services tab, and then you just go straight into academics and student success. It'll take you right to our landing page, and you'll be able to find the peer tutoring info, the academic support center info, all of that. The other piece that I want to,
Liz, can I just say something before you go to the academic support center? I just wanted to know, like, when students apply to get tutored, how long does it take on the average? 1 month, 3 months? How long?
Good question. So I aim to have a 2 to 3 day turnaround. That's not always possible. Sometimes it can take a week or two, and it just really depends on if we can get a tutor. Like, that's the big thing. I've only done this job in a pandemic, so it's going to be interesting to see how quickly or more efficiently the service will run once we sort of get back to a more normal way of operating. I do feel that it's been hard to contact. I'm sure everyone's feeling the COVID fatigue, right? Emails all the time. It's just been a lot of text to read for everybody. And I think people are a little fatigued with that. So responsiveness has been a bit of an issue, over the last couple of years, really, especially honestly in the last couple of months, even. Like, people are ready to just be done now and kind of move forward with a lot of this stuff. So I suspect that once we're back in person, I think that, that 2 to 3 day turnaround is going to be pretty easy. So much simpler when I can talk to somebody face to face, get business done in a live conversation, which is what we're doing today, So yeah, that's what I would say about that. In terms of, to sort of looping back to the 2 T's and responsibilities as well, one of the really important pieces is that 2 T's remember they must attend classes. If they're not attending classes, they're actually not eligible for the peer tutoring program to receive a tutor. So while we pay our peer tutors, and I should state that individual tutoring pays $15.15 an hour, plus 6% in lieu of all fringe benefits and vacation. And group tutoring is $18.13 an hour, plus 6% as well. The other thing with our peer tutors is they are a part of, by default, the part-time support staff union. And so that rate is governed by a part-time collective agreement. So that's an important piece to note as well. In terms of the 2 T's, pardon me?
I was going to go to the academic support center, and then we can, round up.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So yes, so like in terms of the 2 T's, I did want to emphasize that it is important that they are attending classes. So while we pay our peer tutors, the service itself is free to the student who is receiving it. So in order to qualify to receive a peer tutor, you can't sort of appear in week 7 and go, I've done no assignments, I've attended no classes, give me a peer tutor so I can catch up.
Oh,
right?
No way.
And that's not sort of the idea. The idea is that, you will be doing your part. So
we're good, but we're not that good.
Yeah, we're not that We try very, very hard. Yeah, but we're not that good. The Academic Support Center. So my understanding from my partner in crime, that's Jason Bootlier, he is the coordinator of the Academic Support Center, is that he'll be doing one of these podcasts at some point with
really?
you. Yeah, I think that's the plan, because he's got a whole other level of work that he does. And the professional tutors, the 15 professional tutors that he has on staff, have their own sort of specialized areas that they work in. So, he is the best suited person to answer the sort of the details of that. And I think that he's prepared to do a podcast for you in that regard. But what I can tell you in terms of peer tutoring as versus the academic support center.
Yeah.
Those pieces are important pieces, and there are sort of delineations between those two services. While there is intersectionality, right? We do overlap in areas. The academic support center is what Tiffany called, a more urgent service. Although you can use it as, ahead of time. You can book sessions for, once a week for the semester, if you want to, if you feel that you need that with a professional tutor. The professional tutors really deal with fundamental high needs. So math, literacy, any math course at St. Lawrence College, I believe with the exception of the business analytics stats course, which is apparently a killer course, the academic support center can handle. So that's one of those things. If you get up on a Tuesday morning and you've got a test on Tuesday afternoon, you can book some time in the academic support center to get some immediate help with preparation. So there's that. They also accounting. They've got a person on site who deals with accounting. Accounting across the board is a very challenging thing for students who've never seen it before. Yeah. It really is. And, our business department, our School of Business, I'm a School of Business grad, kind of get a what? Yeah, I love them down there. And, every fundamental business program course, they have business fundamentals. So it's I believe that's a 2-year course. Every one of those, they can then branch off into HR or accounting or marketing. They all have to take this fundamental accounting course in that first year, just like almost every program has to do COM 110, that fundamental communications course, or some version of it. And so the academic support center has somebody to assist with that. A lot of students won't go beyond ever taking anything other than that first one, but they have to have it, right, in order to get through its program requirements. So that's why we have that in the academic support center. Jason will be able to expand upon that in ways that I haven't been able to. Yeah, so I hope you get a chance to. I hope you get a chance to interview him and bring him on and give him more info.
Thank you so very much, Liz. It's been an amazing time with you. You've actually enlightened me, and I know other students who will be watching this podcast. Do you have any final words for us today?
So yeah, it's funny, Tiffany and I were preparing for this and we looked at that and, I thought, what do we want to say? What's the most important thing that we want to convey about coming to college and taking care of your education, right? And I always, in my time at the college and in the 2 years I've done this job, I would say be your own leader. That's what I want to say to the students.
That's a powerful word.
Be your own leader. And that if you show up ready to do the work, we will be right there with you, and we will hold your hand if you need us to hold your hand for a while. We'll walk with you through it, but be your own leader, and together we can do it.
Yeah. Powerful word. Thank you so much. Tiffany, do you have any final words for students?
I can't really follow up more than that. Like Liz said, we kind of, we chatted about it a little bit together, but show up every day and be keen. And, we can help you when you stumble. We can pick you back up if you fall down, but you've got to walk the path yourself. So show up. Be your own leader, be in charge of your own life, and we are there to support you as much as we can.
And progress, right? Progress, not perfection, Tiffany, even if you show up one day and you're just not doing your best that day, you're here, do what you can. And I think that's the message, really.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. And make sure you follow us on all our social media handles at SA Voice Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and listen to us on Spotify and all the listening channels. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Liz, for joining us in this podcast. And bye.
Thanks so much for having me.
Bye. Thanks so much.